Aloha and welcome to the Embodied Healing Self podcast with your host, Jenmons. Each week, join me for soul-inspired, conscious conversations around embodied healing and awakening to your soul's purpose. Thank you for listening in. Aloha, friends and family. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Embodied Healing Self. I am your host, Jenmons, and so happy to be sharing this experience with you again. So, you may have heard me share on this episode that I love to set the intention to live my life with a more cyclical flow between kind of like an ebb and a flow of life based on my energy, which has a lot to do with, as a woman, my feminine cycle, and also being a person who feels very connected to the world around me, in sync with seasonal changes in the luteal, the lunar cycles, and integrate those seasonal changes in my own energy field and the energy field on this planet into my work-life balance. So one of the things that I practice is setting intentions every new moon. And not because I believe that I'm not giving the moon the power to create my intention, but more so because it is just a routine that I've created that aligns with me, that I feel very in sync with. And this most recent new moon, as I sat down to journal about my intention moving forward, reflecting on the challenges of the previous month, the previous few months, the previous year, as many of us are probably still navigating. Many of you have shared 2021 has presented a lot of challenges. And as I sat down to journal, this time I actually chose to go on a solo camping trip, which we got this new van. It's super fun. It's, a van that has a kitchen and a bed, and we can travel around in it. And I thought, I need some alone time. I'd like to take the van, go camping, do some journaling. It just so happened to be right around the new moon in October. And so the two words that came through for me about my intention for the month were grace and gratitude. And so today I'm going to share with you what walking in grace and gratitude can look like for you, should you choose, what my experience has been, and why I believe it's important. Before we begin, I'd just like to invite you to come fully into your own presence so that you're ready and open to receiving any messages that might come through for you as you're listening. So often when we're listening to these shows, we're multitasking, and I do it too. And I want to invite you to give yourself a few minutes to just drop into your body and your presence and your breath. So taking a nice deep breath in and exhaling fully to release. Remember, we always welcome those full belly breaths in and out of the belly. Take another nice deep breath. And one more, this time reaching just a little bit further down, maybe below your belly button. Watch the belly expand on the inhale and contract on the exhale. And the invitation is for you to allow your body language to be open to receiving just whatever comes through for you as you listen. So grace and gratitude, what does that mean to you? Most of us are familiar with gratitude. It's the state of being grateful for everything and everyone and every experience in your life that has brought you to this moment. It could be the practice of just being present and grateful for this moment. And being in a place of non-judgment, acceptance, witnessing, non-attachment to the gratitude for how it feels in your body. And so gratitude is not outside of you. You are gratitude. Let me provide an example for you. I want to invite you to just envision something that you're so grateful for in this moment. It could be a loved one. Maybe it's a child or a grandchild. Maybe it's healthy food. Maybe it's your partner, your spouse, your husband or wife. Maybe it's your job that gives you financial support. Maybe it's the beach. Maybe it's chocolate cake, your glass of wine, whatever it is, your pet. I want you to visualize this person, place, or thing that brings you so much joy that you are grateful for. Take in all the details. Take in that person, place, or thing. Notice the color, the smell, the surroundings. And connect with that gratitude in your heart for whatever it is that you're grateful for. It could be an activity. It could be a piece of jewelry, surfing, running, biking. I really want you to allow yourself to feel the expansiveness of this experience that you're so grateful for, this person. Notice everything about it. Immerse yourself in this experience. Notice how you feel. Where do you feel the gratitude in your body? Where do you feel that gratitude? Is it in your heart? In your belly? Do you feel a sense of relief? All the way down to your toes? Or do you feel a lighthearted joy in your heart? Where do you feel this gratitude? I really want to invite you to anchor it into the body. Notice how it feels in your body. For some of us, gratitude is exciting, and for others, it's peaceful. What is the experience for you? And take a deep breath. Allowing yourself to fully receive this experience of gratitude. Noticing how it feels and where it is in your body. And now that you've dropped into your body, I want to invite you to consider that this person, place, or thing that has reflected gratitude back to you is reflecting the gratitude within you. So if the gratitude is within you, you are gratitude, as long as you are willing to connect with the gratitude that is in you. You are gratitude. You are thankful. You are that energy already. So often we forget and we seek for it outside of ourselves. But the truth is that we can't create or share something or see something that's not within us. So I want to invite you to own that you already are grateful. And maybe become just a little bit curious about why you've forgotten that that's what you are. Maybe why you play small, or you allow the stresses of the day to shadow this gratitude. And that you can come back to this feeling of gratitude in your body anytime, because it's there. You just felt it. It's part of who you are. So gratitude is a feeling. It's a state of presence. It's a state of being. It's not an action. It's not outside of you. It's already you. And this applies to everything in life. We are not separate. We are not separate from the things that we think are filling us up. We are those things. We are all of it. We are happiness and joy, and we are also sorrow and anger. And it's okay. But for now, anchor into that gratitude. If you're in a place where you can write it down, I want to invite you to write it down where you feel it, what the experience is, and what it feels like, and know that you can come back to this anytime. And in fact, I challenge you and encourage you to connect with this sensation daily for at least 7 days. And if 7 feels good, go 21. And if 21 feels good, go 30. Now, a practice in gratitude that I love and have done over the years and led many women through in circles, it's part of what we do together, is journaling. But it's a different type of journaling. It's not the type of journaling where you just list things that you're grateful for. It's more intentional than that. What does it mean to you to be grateful for this particular thing? Not just listing out the 10 things that you're grateful for in the day. That's easy. I'm inviting you to go a little bit deeper and really get clear on the why. Why is it important to you? Why are you grateful for it? What does it mean about you? What is it showing you? Because this is your life. It's unique to you. Not everybody's grateful for that glass of wine at the end of work. Not everybody's grateful for their partner that they're in union with in marriage. Not everybody's grateful for their health in the way that you are. So it's unique to you. You get to celebrate. It's a way to celebrate what you're grateful for. And I want to invite you to go deeper. Not surface gratitude. Feeling it, experiencing it, embodying it, and being it, and living it. This is my invitation. And so take a deep breath. And maybe just for this moment, be willing to explore this new idea of gratitude. And give yourself gratitude for your willingness to listen, your willingness to try, your willingness to experience. So what is grace? Grace and gratitude, walking in grace and gratitude. How do we live a life where we walk in grace and gratitude? I was having lunch with my friend Rachel Luna, and a couple of months ago, Girl Confident. She's an extraordinary woman. Absolutely extraordinary. And I am so blessed. I happen to live in the same town as her, and she's just doing wonderful things. And I was using the word grace. We were talking about our spiritual purpose in life. We were talking about Christianity. We were talking about the whole thing. And I was using the word grace, and she said, what does that mean to you? And I was like, oh, yeah, thank you for asking. It actually gave me the invitation to consider. And for me, grace is a couple of things. It's another word for God that has a little bit more of a feminine energy, a little bit more of an energy of surrender. And it's a way that we show up. It's presence, all-knowing, sovereign, free, nurturing, loving, acceptance, and trust. And so it's a word that has been very present in my vocabulary for about 5 years. I started to dive deep into work around healing the feminine back in 2017, and it really opened up my wounding and beliefs that showed up in my relationship with God, in work, and in my own self around the feminine and the masculine. And the word grace is the invitation to walk through life softly, knowing, but also with a sense of ownership and sovereignty, which requires some fierceness. It's not like we say, okay, we just roll over and just surrender to everything. We're not willing to be part of spiritual bypassing. But we know we're sovereign in our knowing with nothing to prove. We walk with dignity and integrity. And also the willingness to admit when we're wrong. Take self-responsibility, radical self-responsibility, and ownership when we're wrong. That's grace. It's in the surrender. That serenity prayer. In fact, I'd like to share that with you. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as the pathway to peace, taking as he did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever in the next. Amen. Most of us are familiar with the beginning. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Now, the original version actually had the word grace in it. God, give us grace to accept with serenity the things that cannot be changed, the courage to change the things which should be changed, and the wisdom to distinguish one from the other. The original version actually asked for the grace to accept. And so grace is an energy in our willingness to be in union with our life in the present moment and all that that is, with our Creator, with this present moment, with our soul, with our heart, with our body. That's what grace is. Acceptance without judgment, without any type of even discernment, because it's pure acceptance. It's courage without projection. Courage is in all of these things they're an inner state of being. And because we're human, we make mistakes. We project our shortcomings on other people. We avoid difficult situations because we're hurt, we're angry. Sometimes it's more important for us to be right than it is to be happy. Has that ever happened to you? And so grace would be rewriting all of those. The willingness to be peaceful. The willingness to wish peace upon others. The willingness to surrender to, and I don't mean give up your freedom and your rights, but I mean surrender to the acceptance internally with this present moment. I am not saying we spiritually bypass, we don't stand up for what we believe in, we don't stand up for ourselves. But it's that wisdom to know the difference. And the only way to really get there, I shouldn't say the only way, but a true way to get there is to know your triggers, to be aware of your activations, to know yourself, to be so aware of your patterns and conditioning, your human patterns and conditioning that have been a part of your life story, to be so aware that you're witnessing. You're witnessing all of the experiences without attachment. And at the beginning and the end of every day, surrendering everything to grace, to God, to your life, because there's no guarantee for the next day. The only truth you ever have, the only truth we ever have is this moment right here. Everything you know today could change tomorrow. So grace is the willingness to wake up every day with the intention to live in alignment with your truth. The truth that you feel, that you embody. To live with intention and purpose. To know that your entire experience is so much bigger than you. It's all of us. We're all connected. And at the beginning and end of every day, laying it before God and surrendering and just asking, show me the way. Show me the people who can help me. If this is how I'm meant to be, if this is who I'm meant to be, if this is how I'm supposed to live, whether you're struggling with whatever you're struggling with, a relationship with a friend, a partner, a child, addiction, food, illness, there's so many things that many of us are struggling with. Nobody gets through this experience without painful experiences. We all have them. It's part of the human experience. So it's the willingness to surrender to the idea that all of that is part of who you are. And you get up every day and you ask yourself, how do I want to show up today? And if there's something that you want from me in my life, God, then show me the way. Show me the people who are going to support me. This is uncomfortable. I don't like this. And I'm willing to be in this experience rather than resisting it. I'm willing to be present to the experience fully. I'm asking for help. Show me the way. I lay everything down before you in total surrender. And if you want to actively participate, maybe you consider a morning routine, meditation, or meditation or movement, connecting with nature, and an evening closure of gratitude and grace. And just, the more that you do this, the more you become it, and it just becomes so much less work. It is no longer separate from you. You just become that. You don't have to think about it or schedule it because you live in alignment with your values. You live in alignment with your truth, and it's no longer something that you have to do anymore just to stay peaceful in your life, because you already are peace. You begin to realize that all of these things that you think you had to do to be somebody, you actually already are. But the idea that you didn't see it in yourself created separation, and separation feels like suffering. So coming back every day and surrendering to the idea that you are everything that you are meant to be, and you are exactly where you're meant to be. I know it can be uncomfortable sometimes. And I know that it can be painful. And I know that sometimes it feels like when it happens like when it rains, it pours. And if you're a person who feels that way, I'm sending you extra love right now. And I'm inviting you to spend some time with yourself, journaling about it. Seek some support. Seek a community. One of the beautiful things about this pandemic is virtual support circles have become a thing that we now embody, that we accept and embrace. And it means that we can make all these really cool friends that live all over the country. And then, I had a retreat in July in Costa Rica, and a lot of them came together and formed new friendships. And now they're visiting each other, flying to places. I just had 2 girls that were in my group coaching program. They just met at another experience in California. Some of them met at my retreat. Like, the world becomes very small when you find your people, when you find your tribe. So that's one possibility, or maybe that doesn't resonate for you. You're looking for some in-person support or experience. Connect with your friends, connect with your loved ones. And then ultimately, give yourself space and time for meditation and prayer, because you're never alone. Never. Even if you can't find the people in your life physically, you're never alone. Always supported and held and loved as a child of God. Always. And when you know this truth, when you know it, not just believe it, but when you know it, you have all the strength you need every day. Thank you for listening in. Thank you for sharing this experience with me. I'd love to hear what grace and gratitude are for you. I'd love to hear what you took away from this podcast episode. Many of you send me private messages. I'm so grateful when I receive private messages. Sometimes I get to see people in person who tell me that this episode or that episode really helped them. And if you're one of those people and you're feeling called to leave a review, I invite you to do so, because it helps other people to connect. People don't want to hear me all the time. They want to hear what you think, what your experience is. I hope you have a wonderful day. I invite you to live in grace and gratitude for today. Sending you much love. Aloha.
The content of this podcast is to educate, inspire, and inform you of pathways to an embodied healing self. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice from your medical doctor, therapist, registered dietitian, or nutritionist for any questions you may have regarding your diagnosis or condition.
Hello, friends, and thank you so much for joining me today and being a part of this community. I know there are many other podcasts that you could be tuning into, and I am deeply honored that you chose to listen in and be present with me today. I love and cherish and appreciate you, and I want to invite you to join our tribe and Facebook group under jenmons.com/connect. I would also love to gift you your guide to discovering and overcoming the self-limiting beliefs standing in the way of you living in optimal health, more energy, fulfillment, and self-confidence to create an embodied, healthy, whole you. You can find this at jenmons.com/tribe. I also have one small request to help spread the love. In order for this podcast to show up in the feed of social media platforms of other like-minded people, we need reviews. So please head on over to jenmons.com/podcast to leave a review. You will also find other inspiring episodes on that page. So I personally read these reviews weekly and would love to give you a shout out and share your kind words with our listeners. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as jenmons or the Holistic Coach with the W Holistic and jenmons JENMONS.com. Thank you so much and have an amazing day. Aloha.